All right, so this transmission has a slot here where we can go in and pry the two halves apart. Maybe.
I'm thinking, what are we doing here, Kaufman?
Pry bar. We're splitting the case. All right, we're now going to get into the internals of the transmission. We're going to split the case. There we go. Just a quick sharp, and there's one should be over there. So go ahead and do it. Ooh. Should be
right here, right?
No, that's where somewhere around there. I don't know. So no, go towards the top. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Right in there. There you go. All right. So she's lifting up. So I'm going to lift on this side. You lift on that side. We're going to try to come straight up.
Okay.
Jiggle. What are we getting hung up on? It might be what we're getting hung up on, or it shouldn't. There we go.
Got it.
Now flip that up. Just going to get the dirt inside the transmission. There you can see inside the case, there's your reverse idler gear right here. Right there's the reverse idler gear I just spun.
Set it like this.
Yep. Well, set it on the board. Go ahead and set it down. We're down there. All right, this is the internal workings of the automatic transmission for this particular vehicle. Now we've got another magnet inside here with the filter on the bottom. There's another fluid filter. Remember we had the one on the outside to be screwed on? There's another fluid filter. It's called the internal filter. Also has a magnet on it. Look at all that fuzzy fuzz. I'm really not seeing where all that fuzzy fuzz came from, other than where the gears mesh together. And normally that's just break-in, when they first break in. We've got a big O-ring right over here. That big O-ring is on the outside of the oil pump. This is the oil pump here. And it pumps that oil out through there into the other half of the case, which then goes into the valve body, which then is dispersed to each of our clutches. So the one's on the end, and applies our gears. Also applies the lubricant to all of the gears, so the gears are all lubricated. Applies the lubricant to the final drive in here as well. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the input and the output shaft out of the transmission. Let's get a clean pig mat or dump that one off or something.
These are more clutch packs, right?
Yep.
Two different ones?
That's third gear is the big one.
Third
is the little, second is the big.
Second, third, first.
And first out here, first is over here. This is second, that's third, this is fourth.
Did this one go here?
It went on top here.
This one
here.
And the reverse one over here?
Mm-hmm.
Which is this, right?
Well, the driven gear, yeah.
All right, so you want to clean it off?
Let's get that pig mat there cleaned up.
Just get a new one.
Either get a new one or dump it, one or the other, and flip it over. Dump it, flip it if it's clean on the back side.
It's
up to you. No, dump it on the floor, dump it in the trash can, dump it someplace other on the bench.
Okay, so where's the dog clutch, Kaufman?
Dog clutch is right here. Alright, we just engaged reverse, and we're engaged forward gears.
And what messes up? What did you say about reverse with the dog clutch?
Well, just like in a manual transmission, if you take a look, it's got those little dogs on it. Alright, just like we had in a manual transmission. And if those get worn off, when you go into gear in a manual transmission, you get that grinding. If you hear it grind when you go into reverse, then these are messed up. You'll have to go in and replace the dog clutch, which is this piece here, the ring that goes on the outside, and of course both of these gears, this gear and that gear.
You're going to clean the dog off though.
Put that back in there so we can take this apart so you see how it's going. And then this goes on top of that. And the washer goes on there. Alright, so ready, get it. There we go. Lay me up the pig mat.
You want to clean that off?
It's in that room right in there, and straight out. Don't start in that room.
God, it was so confused.
Okay, lay the pig mat down.
Do you want
Yeah,
to
we
clean
can
that off?
scrape that off from there.
What is
I've
this?
never seen. What is that?
It's part of the, this guy.
Oh, part of the motor.
Part of it, or it was shit that was on there? Crap, sorry.
No, it's just part of it that broke off.
Okay, so we'll start.
You're going to lift it up.
No, you can if you want to set it. Let's just slide it this way. There you go. That'll work. That way we
Okay.
have more mat space there. All right, so let's start with the output shaft. We take the washer off the output shaft. We want to lay it over here. And you guys were flipping everything, so I'm flipping everything in order that it goes. Okay.
Okay.
Now we've got bearing and erase, which goes in there, so we can flip it and put it inside there, so we know where it goes. Now we've got the next gear and our dog clutch. Pull all that off. It comes off one piece. There's a washer underneath it, the gear, the bearing race, the bearings inside of there, and then the dog clutch right here. Looks an awful lot like a manual transmission there, doesn't it?
Yep.
Just like a manual transmission. All right, so we're going to lay this all right beside it. All right, so now we've got as much of our output shaft taken apart as we can get. So let's take our input shaft and our output shaft and lift them out. All right, now an awful lot like a manual transmission when it comes apart. So since we were working on this shaft first, we're gonna put this shaft aside and keep
That
going.
was the one that was here?
No, over there. All right, so this is the final drive. If you look at the bottom of this one, lay it over. See the final drive. That's the input, that's the output. This would be my pinion gear. This is my ring gear, just like in a differential. But it's inside of the transmission, so instead of calling this a transmission, we call it a
Transaxle.
Transaxle. That is correct. All right, so let's keep taking this shaft apart. So we've got a sleeve here that goes between the two, so let's go ahead and lift that off of there.
Is that a crush sleeve?
And nope, not a crush sleeve, it's just a sleeve, a spacer sleeve. All right, now the next gear comes off.
This one?
Yep. All right, lay it back here upside down. Now look at that, we've got a couple of C-washer, C-clips, and a bearing. So let's pull those C-clips out of the way.
Okay.
And they're just
Screwdriver?
in it. They're not, there's nothing holds them on. They'll fall right off.
And just pop them off?
Yep, just pop them off. Should be able to just pop them right off of there. The C-clip. Ooh. A lion. Nah. Get under here and pry it off of there. It's not. Here, before we do that, let's do this. Push that one back in. Will that bearing come off first? Maybe not. I think I just messed up. Got it out too far on top of the bearing.
In for a treat, taking apart a transmission and listening to the Beatles.
Feel all right.
Even Chuck's getting on this one.
Too much for money. Money can't buy me love. Sure it can. It's got a south.
Wow, you saw him.
Still on video there,
Uh-oh.
Kaufman.
You know, something's really funky there. That all came apart and my spring jumped up.
Yeah, something's wrong.
There is definitely something wrong there. That should not have happened.
This is broken
So
spring
let's
right
take a
here.
look. Let's
Boom.
take a look. Look at the inside of this. How burnt up and dark does that look in there? Quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Not supposed to look like
I
that.
think we're figuring out where all the metal shavings are coming from. So here's my two bearings. And we'll flip those over because we're flipping everything when we pull it out of here, right? And where does it go? It goes on right after that does.
Yeah.
Put it right there.
Did those break, Kaufman? Those clips there?
The clips aren't broken.
This?
but
No.
No.
This spring is right here.
the spring
Woo, the whole thing.
is in really bad shape.
Right there.
Right?
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
clip that holds
So it
that
wasn't
spring
just
in
that.
is gone. Where's the clip that holds that spring down? It's right here. It's still installed in here. And the spring is broken
What's this?
coming up out of there. That looks like
A broken piece?
a piece off of here. Probably.
So just so we know, for people who didn't watch the first video, the first clutch, we actually had to use this tool over here to compress that spring. But now, since that spring is all, you know,
bar.
You ain't compressing nothing with
it,
this.
because this is supposed, these clutches are supposed to come out before we compress that spring, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so
This snap ring is what's supposed to be holding. You can see where the split of the
Yeah.
snap ring is right here. It's supposed to be holding that spring down. When that spring is broken, it come off of that clip.
and we think that's what caused all those metal shavings.
I'm sure it is, because you can look at the bottom of this piston down here. Look at all the metal shavings I'm pulling off on my finger, just touching that piston down. There's just a whole bunch of them.
And all these
It
in
looks
here.
like
Yeah.
there used to be like a mount here.
Yeah, there used to be something to hold that,
I mean, there's a little, but
hold
most
that
of it's
clip,
gone.
hold this,
it's just gone now.
to hold this retainer
So
there.
just throw this out.
And that, well, don't just leave it lay with that because it's part of that. All right, wow, we're finding all kinds of cool stuff inside of this one.
Okay.
This transmission is just fried.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's go ahead and pull the clutch packs out, see if it can burn up the clutch packs.
Okay.
So take your screwdriver and pull your retaining ring off of there. You're gonna find the end of it. You don't want to start in the middle of it. Find the end of that retaining ring. Here and here. All right, so maybe start on that one right there. Flip it up and out of the groove. Work yourself on around.
Now there are special tools for these, right, Kaufman?
Nope, here's your special tool for this right here.
Oh.
Taking the clutches apart, you just got
Screwdriver in your mind.
Now we're going to pull the backing plate out. But we're going to bring some clutches with it. So.
I get it.
You can bring all the. All right,
Oh,
there's
just
just the
one.
backing plate. Looking on the back side of it, the steel side, it looks okay. Fibers look okay so far.
Yeah.
How about the steel side? Yep, still looking okay. Next fiber. Starting to see a little bit of wear on that fiber, aren't I? Down around the inside ring of that, maybe?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what the steel side looks like.
It's still good for now.
Still looking pretty good.
There we
Next
go.
one.
Now it's starting to get a little
Starting to get a black there.
rusty, yeah.
All right, still looking good on the steel side. We're not terrible. So far, we're still not looking. There's some black in there. Yep, starting to burn there, starting to slip. You can see the burn mark here, the burn mark there.
There's some broken metal in there.
And that one there. It's got pieces of metal shavings from the clutch return spring.
This one's got a line through it.
Oh, we're missing a bunch of fiber off of that one. What's the
Looky
steel
there.
side look like? Steel side still looks good.
It's all right.
Did you see the fiber missing?
No, we did not.
There you go, right there. You can see how the fiber's peeled off of here.
And that's not normal.
Nope, that's not normal. Next one,
Still good.
that one there looks pretty good too. Now this particular clutch, unlike the other one, doesn't have a wave plate in it. That final steel ring and clutch, all right, is thicker than the regular one. So instead of having a return spring or a tapered spring in the bottom, it's just got a thick piece of thick clutch in there, and that's what rides against the piston. And the piston pushes it, applies it. This spring is probably a little tighter than the one that was in the first clutch to the part. And look at the piston, the top of the piston in this one. That's this right here. You can see how chewed up it is. It should be just nice, smooth, flat, shiny steel. Take a look around here. You can see there's a groove been dug all the way around.
There's broken pieces of metal everywhere.
Yeah, little tiny pieces of metal in everywhere. So, yep. Now we can pull that piston out of there, but not until we remove that snap ring that held our springs in there. But they have exploded and are no longer there. That's why that C-clip, this one here, wouldn't fall right out of there. Why I had to pick it out with a pick.
Because this shattered.
Because that shattered and it wasn't holding the springs down. The springs were pushing up against those two little C-clips, holding the C-clips in.
So
So
we take this bad boy
we've
off.
got a blown up fourth gear.
So this was clutch pack 4, right?
That's the clutch pack 4. So
There's a couple things because we had the broken spring in here too.
Also had a broken spring in there, and it was a pressure regulator spring. So it's a pretty good possibility that that is what caused the fourth gear to blow up. Full pressure applied to fourth gear all the time.
So Kaufman, since we just talked about that, you just want to give an overview real quick of what that is sitting right there in the corner?
Of the valve body,
So that is a valve body, and we found what was wrong in there?
there was a broken spring in the pressure regulator valve of that valve body. So instead of regulating the pressure down to 50, 75, 100, 175 pounds, it was putting full pump pressure throughout the transmission all the time. So 350 pounds to 450 pounds all the time. And I think that's what caused the spring to break inside of here, or the retainer spring to break, and chewed up our piston here. You see I'm turning just the piston. You can see how it's all chewed up in here. Not supposed to be that way. This is where our parking pole actually engages, is into fourth gear. See some debris. See debris on the inside in here. So this has definitely got issue. We probably have a bunch of debris inside of our shaft here. Here again are two of those O-rings like we talked about earlier that have to be resized once you put them on. Fluid comes out here goes into the little tiny hole here, and then applies that piston against that spring pressure to make these clutches lock in. Now it has been hot, because if you look at the centerpiece here, you can see that it is turned color. It is black. It is no longer silver. It is turned black. So it has been very, very hot for fourth gear circuit. There's probably a lot of debris down on the inside of this shaft, this output shaft. So we would want to clean this up thoroughly, replace the seals on it, replace fourth gear, entire fourth gear. All of fourth gear needs to be replaced. And then we could reinstall our idler gears and everything on the top here for reverse, and put it back together and put it back on the highway. As well as replace the broken spring inside of the valve body.
We would not replace the whole valve body, correct?
Just the spring that was broken, yes. Because we inspected all the valves and all the spool valves in there. Everything moves like it should. Everything feels good. We just had a broken spring.
Okay.
Put it back together?
You put that shaft back together, yes.